Hey, this is Wolf, and you're listening to the Flow of Consciousness podcast, where I share a daily piece of wisdom, an affirmation, a confirmation to help you step into your power and rediscover the strength that is already within you. Thank you for tapping in. Let's talk.
Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I am currently laying in the fields in Tuscany, Italy, a few hours from Rome, and it's just so peaceful, so calm to lay here in the morning sun and to hear some of the farmers work on their fields and to hear the birds chirp and to smell summer at the countryside. It's just such a pleasant experience. And I honestly hope that you are feeling well, that you are feeling at peace within yourself, because I believe that feeling at home in your own body is so important if you want to be happy. And being happy all the time is not necessarily something that you want to chase. You don't want to build your life around being happy all the time, because it's simply not possible. Happiness is, I believe, an empty value to chase. We feel all sorts of emotions, and happiness is just one of them. I think it can be a more fulfilling journey to, instead of seeking happiness, you can seek peace within, tranquility. And I got this idea from stoicism. Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy that got popularized by great thinkers such as Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. And stoicism is a philosophy of life. You can use it to conduct yourself in the world. And one of their highest values is peace, tranquility. And they practice all kinds of mental tools, frameworks, in order for them to maintain their inner peace, their tranquility. And they understand that we can't control much of our external environment. We can't control the weather, for example. We can't control whether our crops will bloom or not. These are things we have limited control over. So there is a few different levels of control that we can exert, right? The weather we have absolutely no control over, or at least not the normal person without weather guns, for example, right? Now, whether our crops will bloom or not, whether our crops will be healthy or not, we have partial control over, right? We can make sure that the soil is healthy and that we take care of the crops and that we make sure that they get enough sun. If there's not too many clouds, obviously, but we don't plant them in the shade, so we can choose where to plant them, etc. So we have partial control over whether our crops will be healthy or not. And then our mindsets, our attitudes, that is what the Stoics believe we have full control over. We have full control over whether we choose to believe certain things or whether we choose to react to a certain situation. And meditation is the number one practice we can engage in order for us to gain more control, in order for us to gain a better understanding of our inner workings and then apply that to our lives, right? So sometimes we feel exceptionally emotional. Maybe you feel really angry or really sad or really confused, and you tend to identify with that feeling. Now, while that is not necessarily a problem in and of itself, I do believe that it can cause more suffering than you would feel if you were not to identify with this feeling. And meditation can really teach you that. Meditation can show you that you are not your feelings. You are experiencing your feelings. You can detach yourself from them and observe everything that is happening within you. And I actually very much enjoy doing that because it brings me peace to be able to take a step back and watch myself having a certain experience. You are a human being having a spiritual experience. And by watching yourself having this experience, you will quickly see that you don't have to act out that feeling. You can just feel whatever you're feeling and let it be there. It's important to validate what you feel. It's really important to validate that, yes, right now you feel angry, or yes, right now you feel empty, or yes, right now you feel very, very anxious. It's absolutely okay to feel this anxious. It's absolutely okay to feel angry like that. However, don't let it influence your decisions, because I'm sure that most of your worst decisions were made in a highly aroused emotional state. And that is precisely what the Stoics want to prevent, because they know if my tranquility is disturbed and I make a decision in that state, it will cause me to suffer even more. So they make it their top priority to maintain their tranquility by meditating, by understanding that it's not worth it to hold on to extreme negative emotions. Try to sustain anger for half an hour. Try to deliberately sustain your anger. And then try to see what changes if you decide to just let it go and observe it. Just observe your anger really, really closely. What happens to it? I assume I would even argue that you will not be angry for a long time. It's very difficult to observe your emotion very closely and have it not dissipate eventually. Awareness is transformative in and of itself. It is the source of all change you will make deliberately in your life. The first step is always to become aware. To become aware that you are having a certain experience, to become aware that you are falling back into the same loops over and over again. And then with that awareness comes a choice. Awareness brings the ability to choose. And exercising awareness, exercising your decision-making abilities is what's ultimately going to decide the quality of your life. Because your life is nothing more than a succession of daily decisions you make repeatedly over time. And the ones you make repeatedly over time, those usually become your habits, which become your personality. So the Stoics, they understood the power of habit. They understood that if I practice tranquility every single day by meditating, by observing my emotions, and by not letting them dictate my decisions, they understood that this is the key to a good life. The key to a good life is focusing on tranquility. Now, another really important value is service. As a Stoic, these philosophers, they wanted to teach others, they wanted to serve the people, to help them deal with life, because honestly, life can be incredibly difficult to deal with sometimes. It is not an easy place here. We suffer. We encounter death, loss, betrayal. These things are very painful to deal with, and they can cause us to feel resentful, angry, disappointed, all sorts of things that disturb our tranquility. But then the Stoics say that it's important to return to your center, to not let it make you vengeful, because vengeance, resentment, these are also disturbances of your tranquility. And the person you're holding grudges against, they don't know that you're doing that. It's only you who's suffering. So focus on letting go of these negative emotional charges, because they will foster and they will make you ill. And you don't want that. You want to live a peaceful life. You want to feel at home in your own body. And I struggle with this myself. Sometimes I feel very anxious, or I'm scared, uncomfortable, and I get overwhelmed by my emotions. I feel like I have no control. I feel like I am what I feel. And that's a problem, because that leads to so much suffering. I have to practice observing my emotions and understanding they are just that, emotions. It's like when you take a cold shower in the morning, you feel the resistance, but you do it anyway. And afterwards, you understand that I'm not dead. Nothing bad happened. It was just initial fear that now changed into something totally different. Actually, I feel quite good now after taking a cold shower. And that is the key to living a peaceful life. Understanding that your emotions, yes, while they're really important, they're also just that. Emotions are indicators, not dictators. They are telling you something, teaching you something. You can learn something from your emotions. And I think that they are one of the most powerful tools for personal development, self-actualization. If you become aware, if you pay attention, if you look closely, very closely, and accept that whatever is there, and that whatever is there will also morph into something else. This too shall pass. It's one of my favorite quotes, because it reminds me that whatever emotional state I'm in, however uncomfortable the feelings that I'm experiencing are, they will pass. They will change, they will shift, and I will see the light once more. And even the light, even the joyful, happy times, they too pass. So don't get too attached. I try to not get too attached to whenever I feel elated, excited. These are also fleeting emotions. And if you try to hold on to those too much, you will also end up feeling disappointed. And the key is not to numb yourself down and just flatline your emotional responses. That's not what stoicism is about. It's way more about understanding that emotions are temporary, and you don't want to get too attached to whatever you're feeling, because it will cause you to suffer even more. So practice peace, practice tranquility, just like I am doing. I'm laying on the fields, listening to the sounds, taking in the smells and the sun on my skin. And it brings me peace. Meditate on it. Let it sink in, and understand that you are not your feelings. Thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. And if you happen to know someone who you feel might enjoy a conversation like this, please feel free to share it. And as always, thanks for listening, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.